Yes, we're continuing our focus on the state of the nation, especially as it has to do with security. I mean, all the papers are washed with that headline today. We're joined again now by retired Captain Omar Aliyu, who is a security consultant. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Well, yes, the headlines again, just narrating what transpired yesterday. You know, we speak about all of this time and again. Whilst we talk about this, and then we get to hear, oh yes, it takes some time to order some of those very high-tech equipment to deploy to some of these areas. You will need that time to recover. But in spite of all, can we draw any lessons in terms of, do you think, or does it come across to you that we're doing some things differently to see how we can always solve these problems?
Thanks. I'd like to just put it this way. If you drew a learning curve on the activities as it concerns insurgency from 2011, you are going to see clearly that we are not learning. A learning curve is simply a graphical representation of a theory which believes that the more you do something, you get better at it. So time and effort should bring about experience. But if you look at it, take it from 2011 now, 4 years, we do not seem to be getting any wiser, and we do not think to be getting anywhere with this insurgency problem. I, for one, have come to take, this very keen interest in how our law enforcement agencies and governments respond or react, as the case may be.
Let me jump in so that you don't lose your train of thought. You can react to this one alongside what you want to say next. How do we, on the outside, I mean, you've been in security, how do we, or how does security make us identify or deal with this notion that no matter how well you've done in terms of security, even if you're the best in the world, if there happens to be one incident somewhere, it raises a lot of questions and puts a lot of holes in all your plan, as good as they may be?
Yes, I tell you something about the security profession itself. It's something you have to live with. Security seldom gets any appraisals. But when security fails once, the world hears about it. It's global. And as a professional, you just accept it and learn to live with it. But that won't be an excuse for not performing.
Okay, and pardon me, in addition to that, we need to also let you listen to this and then get your response on it, your response to it.
Activities of Boko Haram are generally incomprehensible. We do not understand what it stands for fully. We do not understand what they really want. We do not understand or know who they really are. All we see is wanton violence wrought against our people. No denomination, no delimitation of class, age, religion, ethnicity. At first, we thought it was Muslims fighting Christians. Then we thought some Christians have seized the franchise and they were also, fighting Muslims. Now we see that Boko Haram is fighting everybody. It's fighting the very nerve center of the soul of Nigeria. But what distresses some of us is that how do we account for this, the pain that is inflicted on very ordinary Nigerians?
What do you think?
Really, it's unfortunate. Much of what he has said there are facts. But where it really gets me a bit befuddled is this line of responses have become a litany. I can sit here and virtually predict what any governor or minister will do after a bomb blast. You hear condolences, you hear we will overcome terrorism. Look, it's becoming what I want to call a dirge that we just sing and rest the souls of the departed. But those things are not finding expression on ground. So you begin to become forced to believe there is a conspiracy of silence somewhere. When I say conspiracy of silence, words are not being matched with deed. If it happens, you hear this high delegation, high-powered visits, we're on top of it. Terrorism is not something you can overcome overnight. Of course, but 4 years is no longer overnight.
There are certain things that are pertinent in what is raised. We've asked this question over and over again. Do we understand this sect? What are they about? It's a very pertinent question because he said now that we do not understand them. We don't even know, what they want. We don't know who they are, And if you don't know these three things, the who, what, where, and why, isn't it just we might as well be looking for something in the dark?
We're not looking for something in the dark. We know who they are. We know what they want. We know what they're about. Yes, I put it to your face now that what we lack is the will to bail this cart. And until we do, nothing will work. Every single time they score one disaster against these villages, they gain grounds. We lose grounds. I refuse to believe that we don't know who they are. They've been there long enough for you to know who they are. They've stated clearly what they want. See, we can continue to offer polemics and all manner of semantic maneuvers, but it doesn't change the problem. I tell you, it doesn't change the problem.
Captain, I think it's very important at this point we state very clearly. I mean, if we say that we know, maybe we should put it out there again. All that we've heard is that this sect says they want an Islamic state. It's something that a lot of people have laughed off, that it's not possible, it's not feasible in a state as secular as Nigeria, where you have both Christians and Muslims, and even Muslims have laughed at it, that it's not possible. I mean, not all states in the north have accepted Sharia, and not even the type that has been practiced there. So can we say, is that what you're also aware of that they want as well?
There is nowhere you can have in this age an absolutist Islamic state. Even if you go to Saudi Arabia today, they accommodate religions from
yes, but what I'm saying is... Is that what you've also heard they want? Because you say that we know who they are and we know what they want.
That's not what they want.
What do they want?
They have nothing to want. These people, I can tell you, are just what you can call renegades who are being sponsored by people who gain political capital from what they are doing. You can't have an entirely Muslim Nigeria. Even our forefathers, Sheikh Usman dan Fodio, couldn't make it up to the shores of the Bar Beach. The reason was simple. Horses don't swim. The expansionist campaigns of Sheikh Usman dan Fodio stopped at Ilorin because you can't get over the rivers. They couldn't get places like Jos and other southern Kaduna areas because horses don't climb hills. So whatever your religious convictions are, there will be limitations. The world is not flat as far as religion is concerned, and the world is colored as far as religion is concerned. If you feel you are actually believing in God, then somebody also is there who doesn't believe in God, and we all exist within this space called Earth. And God has done nothing about it, so you won't. Now, leaving that aside, let's go back to what is happening in Maiduguri in Borno State. If you look at 4 years of so many things, so many sad incidents, and you look at a terrorist group that never really comes out en masse with more than, at the most, 500 people, pitted against an armed force of about 100,000 men, you discover that something is wrong somewhere. We are told it's equipments and weapons. Fine. Much has been budgeted for this. Nothing has changed. Much later, we had recruitments. If you go in for mass recruitments, what exactly are you trying to do? There is enough men in the armed forces to meet Boko Haram 1 to 500. So what are you recruiting more for? Let's not forget about what you call capital expenditure. You are talking about your budget going into overheads. Very little budget goes into your capital expenditure. Think weapons acquisition and logistics. And now you want to add more salaries by doing mass recruitment?
Yeah, but we've